The question about whether I prefer face-to-face classes or online, I would have to say face-to-face. Reason being, when it's face-to-face, you can ask the teacher questions while you're at school. You can actually get together with other people and do groups together so you can gather more information.
When I got to my classes, statistics, college algebra, things like that, I did need more hands-on learning from my professor, a little bit more tutoring, as well as when I got to my graduate degree, when it came to classes such as groups, that was unavailable to do online. Things, psychotherapy, where we was going, kind of talking diagnoses and things like that.
And I prefer face-to-face classes rather than online classes because I would have access to the professor in class. If I had a question, I can establish a relationship to get to know my professors.
If I had a choice between classroom training and online training, my choice would be classroom training. I get the feeling if I was online that I wouldn't be able to participate, be involved in the class, ask questions if needed. So I definitely would prefer an instructor in front of me.
I prefer the face-to-face classes because I like the social aspect of it. I have the opportunity to interact with my peers and learn different perspectives on whatever the class topic is about, and also you have the opportunity to ask questions of your professor right on the spot.
My preference is to do face-to-face classes, and the reason for that is that I like that contact, that direct contact with the professor. I like to be able to ask my questions and get an answer
in
right
a
in
small
that moment.
classroom. If it's 1 to 15 people, where I can ask the professor as many questions as I want to, and there can be that back and forth discussion between the professor and myself.
My preference would be face-to-face classes over online classes because I'm a traditional student. When I was going to school, online classes were not being offered. At this point in life, I don't think online classes would be good for me because I would have too much. I'm not the most flexible person in the world. So I would have too much downtime and I would be doing things that I probably shouldn't be doing, like looking at TV, exercising, something like that. So I prefer the face-to-face. I learn better that way.
I prefer face-to-face classes over online because I am a traditional learner and I need to be able to ask questions to understand, and I want to rely on my peers and the instructor instead of just relying on myself. So that's what I think.
Online classes or in-class classrooms for your education. I prefer in-class classrooms because I like to be able to interact with my teacher on a face-to-face level where they can answer immediate questions on site and just give me a better understanding.
I prefer one-on-one classes because I like hands-on contact with my teachers. I would love to be able to ask them questions and get feedback.
I prefer face-to-face training, educational training, due to me being a personable person, and I learn better if I'm taught face-to-face, interacting with other classmates and able to ask questions to the instructor and other classmates while I'm there.
If I had to choose either, I would be split in the middle due to the fact I've taken online and in-class, classes on campus in my undergraduate and graduate
I have
year.
an opinion on classroom or internet studies, and I'm kind of swayed on both directions. One would be in the classroom, you have the interaction where you can actually ask questions with the teacher, and you might miss something in interpretation on the online course. So, but also I like the online course because you can kind of work at your own pace and do your research.
So I definitely would prefer an instructor in front of me. I like to look at hand gestures, facial expressions. I think that's all part of being involved in the class. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Online, it works for some, but I've heard a lot of people say that it has not worked. Reason being, a lot of times people get a little bit, how could I say it, comfortable with the fact that it's online. They may not complete assignments in a timely manner. Sometimes it's difficult to get a hold of the teacher, or they'll have prescribed times where you can only talk to that person online. So that's another barrier. And then I would also say that the last barrier would be just the fact of the computer glitches. I've heard of some people to try and put in information online. Sometimes the computer crashes. They have to redo the assignment and do it all from the beginning. Or sometimes if you submit the assignment, the computer will lock down and you cannot make any corrections or changes once it's submitted.
I like online education because it gives you the freedom to perform as you want. It allows you to pick your schedule, allows you to show up for class when you want. It helps you set the time. If you want to do it at 2:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning or midnight, it doesn't make any difference. It just is a freedom that I enjoy. I don't like waiting on the constraints of the classrooms as the time limits and stuff. I enjoy just learning at my own pace and getting my own information together.
Doing online is more productive, and you can do it at your own time, but you're less likely to be able to ask the questions you need to ask and get that personal response.
I think that online classes are more independent, and you're pretty much teaching yourself how to do the work, and that you need to be able to just ask questions immediately so that you can, do your assignment and complete it on time, and make sure you have a good understanding of what the material is asking you, and the information that is being given to you.
Online classes were very convenient for me due to the fact of me being a parent, having small children, and I took a lot of my basic classes like environmental science, histories, and things like that I didn't feel as though I needed a professor in class kind of going over, to me, was repetitive things that I kind of went through high school, with just a little bit more information.
I have talked with people, and I actually have people in my family who have taken these online courses, and I have heard them express concerns about not hearing back from the professor in a timely manner. And
like I say, I can't say yay or nay to either one. I'm just kind of split down the middle, but I do think each has its advantage. And I truly think it all depends on what that person is kind of looking for to be conducive to their learning and their needs.
In class, therefore I prefer the face-to-face over a online class.
So I would say that I prefer in-class education versus online education.
you just don't get to know people the same way you do when you're doing it face-to-face contact. So I just feel like face-to-face contact is better for me.
So I would prefer face-to-face. I think there's more room for flexibility when it's face-to-face. You can have somebody there to ask questions and get a real good feel for what you're doing in that particular area.